What up, YouTube? Got another one for y'all. This is interesting though. This is a little bugged out though. You heard? This one is going to be about karma. When I first started realizing that me and my person had got in a situation where it was like things were starting to get a little discombobulated. That's the best way I can explain it. You know how when you feel like a person is around you, so they feel like automatically all things are necessary and going to be granted to them, and they take you for granted. It'll be times to where it's 3:30 in the morning, by the way. It'll be times to where you will be wanting to have like some form of conversation, and the conversation that you have will be just about surface layer things. You know, it's like you want to have these deep conversations about these spiritual things. you know you want to be able to talk to somebody who can talk to you from a perspective of being a higher being, instead of one from just being a person who thinks from a worldly perspective. And those things are hard to come by when you're dealing with a narcissist, because they don't know how to think deeply. In order for you to think deeply, the first key thing that you have to possess is the skills to self-reflect. If you can't think deeply about yourself, the mistakes you made in life, and ways to improve it, then it's quite evident you can't self-reflect. So if I'm coming to you and I'm expecting to have a conversation with you about anything that's deep, I'm only fooling myself and giving you more credit than you deserve. With that being said, I go to say that to say this. There was times where I would sit there and I would talk to my person, try to, spark some type of, you know, deeper thought. Like, let me see what they tell us in college. I would try to instill more critical thinking into this individual. But no matter what I tried to instill in this individual, it only lasts 2 to 3 days tops. And then it'll be back to square one, back to square one. It's kind of like having a cup with a hole in it, but you just keep pouring water in it. And you wondering why the cup never stay full. Because narcissists are bad with management in all things. All things. Money, love, friendships, time, especially time. Dealing with a narcissist is like eating a clock. The shit is just too time consuming, you heard? So when you find yourself trying to have conversations with them and they seem to be more interested in what's going on Instagram or what's going on Facebook, you get these conversations in spurts. And then the head lean back to the phone in the hand. Conversation in spurts. Head lean back to the way it was with the phone in the hand. So what does that do for your spouse? It puts your spouse in a situation to feel like in order for him to coexist, he has to adapt. Now, your partner, me, I'm going to keep it me, but I'm going to say your partner being in general for the general listening audience, is a little more spiritually inclined. So he likes certain things. He'll watch everything from things involving ancient technology to the Book of Enoch to the Sumerian text to the transcribing of Aramaic to studying about Zachariah Sitchin, to learning about deep underground military bases, to learning about extraterrestrial biological entities, learning about the different levels of evolution when it comes to ascension and the different realities that the human soul can travel in. This one being 3D, going into 4th D, trying to elevate into the 5th so we can become higher beings. So when we get to the 6th and the 7th level, we can decide whether or not we need a biological containment unit, stuff like that. Those are the things that drive my passion. I can't talk to a person like that about none of that. So while she's nodding her head back on Facebook, I don't have Facebook or none of that. I recently just started tapping in with this social media thing, and those are one of the things that kept me off guard, because that's the playground for the narcissist. But I didn't really care, to be honest, because you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and what you're gonna do is gonna lead me to do what I'm gonna do, and I'm whatever is your highest desire type of person. I'm not gonna beat up on you, chase you down. No, cool. So while she was so much into Facebook, I started getting into my esoteric side of things. And during the course of me getting into these esoteric side of things, I ran into this first tarot reader that became somebody that I first subscribed to as a tarot reader. I subscribed to her. I've been subscribed to her since towards the end of 2019, something like that, on a consistent basis. But it was a little different because during that time, I was going through a lot of emotional things to where I would just watch and I wouldn't comment, because to be honest with you, I was going through so much emotional things that I didn't have the voice to speak to nobody except the person that I was with, to try to get some type of understanding of what the malfunction or the short circuit could be. You understand? This is at the time where you still trying to put the pieces together and still trying to see if things are stable enough or even worthy enough to even sit around in. I started watching tarot readers. I subscribed to this individual. So there's plenty of days where I'm trying to have a conversation and I get the head nod, phone back in the hand, and I adapt, get on my esoteric shit, and start watching my tarot card reader. You heard? And I say this to say this, that you're not new to her, because you've been in my home and in my life for a long time, way before I started commenting, and she's well aware of that. There's been plenty of times that she said, "Why you always watching that tarot shit?" As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, when all of the fiasco happened on my end, fuck my Father's Day up and all that shit, I was actually watching you when she called. You know what she asked me? And this is to my kids and everything. "Who's that? That Pisces lady?" And that's on my mama, you heard? So it's just so ironic that the way the universe works karmatically is, when you hurt an earth angel, and I told you that before, and I told you that there's certain things that I can't tell you because sometimes a person could get their halo broken and get stuck here. You laughed at me, bro, and told me that I needed to be in special ed. I still got the text messages right now. Right now. So for all of this shit to come full circle and to come full to tuition of how the universe stacks shit and moves shit, it's just so ironic that the person that led me to the decision of me realizing what's going on for certainty and basing my intuition on the secondary source for confirmation lines up perfectly with everything that happened, lined up so much so perfectly that I follow everything that I needed to follow according to my intuition and moved accordingly the right way so swift that the road that I took led me being closer to the person that I consider to be my spiritual advisor due to the ways of the universe. Nigga, that's karma, homie. That's karma. And this shit ain't got nothing to do with me, and this shit ain't got nothing to do with her, and this shit ain't got nothing to do with none of the people around listening to this shit. This shit got to do with you, nigga. And what you gotta pay for, homie. And that shit is bad because for karma to come at you so swift and so fucking precise, like a samurai's blade, you know you got a lot of karma to pay for. And me and you had a conversation about that too. In the conversation that we had, I know he was listening in third party. But I still remained cool and told you exactly this. I'm hurting now. It's going to be a learning experience for me, but it's a part of my soul journey, so I'm not mad at you. This is the only area in my life that hasn't been shattered. I done experienced everything else, from the loss of loved ones to the loss of distant ones through different circumstances, through separations from people that you thought you would never be separated from. Every area that challenged me in pain, that challenged me in morality, that challenged me in integrity, that challenged me as an individual, that challenged me as a lover, that challenged me as a friend. I passed them all, bro. Even when you did what you did, knowing you didn't do this to just me, because I got a daughter that knew you since she was 2.5. So not only did it affect me, it affect her. So yeah, if I really wanted to get on some shit, I got a bone to pick with you, you heard? But they told me I didn't have to, you heard? They told me to continue to do what I've been doing, just like when I found out what was going on. I didn't call you a bunch of bitches, I didn't get mad, I didn't get upset, I didn't curse at you, I didn't scream at you, I didn't yell at you, or none of that. I took that shit like a soldier on the chin and said, if that's what's gonna make you happy, then that's cool. I'm not saying I didn't feel it, but I understood that sometimes when it's time for you to shift, ain't nothing you could do about it. When the universe takes shit out of your hands, ain't nothing for you to do about it. You'll be a fucking fool to try to fight against the universe, because they taking you to where you need to be, because they feel you didn't have the strength to do it on your own. So they like, you know what, move the fuck out the way. Let me take, because this shit is fucked up. Let me move this nigga out the way right quick. And I'm going to teach your little ass something to sit down. So that's how they work. Them things we call guardian angels, spirit guides. When you're born with them, you're granted 2. Most people are gifted with up to 4 throughout the day, because they switch off based on your need for a particular time. They'll swoop in and help you. I have 14. Just some food for thought. So I'm not surprised that the person that led me out of bondage from being with you, I'm tight with. And we communicate on a spiritual, telepathic level on a lot of shit. That shit is fucking ironic. And I'm not saying this to be funny or be smart, because you know this shit is the truth. And you should be scared out your ass, because you should know that karma's coming to knock at your fucking door every day. As she should. Karma's a bitch. But not if you treat her right. I be you be me. Red Cloud TV.